Hello and welcome back to part 11 of Doctor Who The Eternity Clock. Oh damn, this is a good mix of I and the Doctor. Whee! Oh, Matt Smith. I will accept there's a few points where he gets a bit too wacky, too childish, but he was still great as the Doctor. It's a wonderful young and old quality. I hope he returns in Big Finish. I really do. Mainly because that whole aspect of him being too childish, like I said, will probably be sorted out. Because the Big Finish writers, they tend to write more maturely. You know, they don't tend to aim for the kids. And yeah, the 11th Doctor, he's very popular with the kids. He's a very child-friendly Doctor. And, you know, I don't want to be too negative about it. It wasn't really a bad thing, per se. Just not really my preference. But I think the whole Doctor Who went a bit too childish during the Stephen Moffat era. And, well, that's because he has this impression that Doctor Who could be a fairy tale. And, you know what? Again, that's not really a bad thing, and it's not really out of place. I mean, the Doctor Who, it's a sci-fi show, really, but it's a lot of points. It seems more fantasy-based. You know, and if you look back, like the second Doctor, well, go back to the first Doctor, he had pure historicals. You know, stories where there were no alien invasions. He just hit historical figures. The second Doctor had base and siege stories. You know, the third Doctor, it sort of turned into a spy show. Then with the fourth Doctor, it turned into Hammer horror. So Stephen Moffat introducing a fairy tale aspect, it, you know, kept in the spirit of the show. Because, yeah, as I just pointed out, the show tends to introduce new genres with each Doctor. In fact, I would say it does get weaker with the 5th and 6th Doctor, the classic series. And I feel that's because they don't really have much of an identity. Or at least it's not a good one. Like, let me see, the 5th Doctor had a lot of callbacks, but it just felt... I think it felt too similar to the 4th Doctor's eras. Stories. The 6th Doctor just sort of turned into a pantomime at times. And when the show got good, was good again, was with the 7th Doctor. Or at least in my opinion. Because they found a new direction for the show. They sort of made it mystery based. They had Lovecraftian monsters. They had stories about the Doctor's past. Essentially, he had found a new tone. He had found a new direction. And it is a shame he got cancelled. Because at that point they were starting to find their feet again. But that's a rant for another day. This one's easy. Oh, and I just realised this console was the same one we used with the Cybermen back in the earlier parts. So that could be a callback, or no, that could be the same console. Yeah, I must admit it has lasted a while. Look, rocks.
That's a Dalek command node. If that's what you want to call it. All right, it's fair.
Oh, actually, this is a really nice touch too, because this is back. It's the same street as the one we fought the Cybermen. So it's. Well, I was saying that this is, you know, these 4 periods of London are clearly based off of the same area. Oh, the drone Daleks. Yeah, and I've been really good at the stealth section. And you'll see later on there are parts where I just run for it. The Daleks looking all plastically. Plastically? Honestly, the Daleks shouldn't look like they should be. They can be defeated with a blowtorch, or even a hairdryer. But I was saying that the classic Daleks could be beaten with clever use of a coat. Oh, I'm serious. The earlier stories, they were nowhere near as powerful as they were now. Which is fair enough. You know, as the Doctor gets better, the Daleks should get better. Oh, that's it. Casually stroll river. Anyway, this is essentially the final section of the Doctor Who: The Eternity Clock. The final time period with a final enemy. And, yeah, this is happening. And I forgot to mention, there is a classic story called Dalek Invasion of Earth, where the Daleks invade and conquer Earth. Obviously, there was also a Peter Cushing movie made about that particular story. And this is clearly a callback to it. Like, I was thinking it would have been cool if they actually set it during that time period. Which I believe, according to the show's law, is 2064. And this is 2106. A different era. Different era. But then again, if they did that, they would have to use the classic Dalek designs. Because obviously during that story, it was an older version of the Daleks that conquered Earth. But I'm sure many fans would appreciate not having these paradigm buggers here. You see, seeing them move around in 3D like this, I actually think they look pretty cool. Again, I don't really mind their designs. I like their designs, I like the colours. I just didn't like the fact that they looked like they were made out of plastic. And guess what? They fixed that problem. And then they decided just to abandon these fellas. Oh, and apparently the Silents have been here too. Come on, Dalek. Come here, boy. Speaking of which, the Christmas special of Doctor Who is coming up. Which seems to be a cross between Alien and... well, it's Alien with Father Christmas in it. Right, no, The Thing. Because it's a monster found at an ice base. So it's more applicable to John Carpenter's The Thing. Oh, apparently, but they do hook faces. I've seen that in the preview. Looking forward to it, actually. I know that the Christmas specials have been a bit cheesy, but this looks like it's going to be horror-based. But it's thrown in Santa Claus anyway. And admittedly, I'm curious about that. I really am. And I was about to say something about Christmas specials, and I have forgotten what I'm saying. Ugh. Anyway, I think I said it. See, that's annoying because I think that the area down below there is where I'm supposed to go next. I'm trying to sequence break here. Speaking of which, I would be curious to see if there is any speed runs of this game out there. Dalek, I like it. I'm trying to think. Is it explained what exactly the Dalek bumps do? I mean, the only use I've seen of them is to be used in self-destruction, and that was used in the episode Dalek. Oh wait, no, in Curse of the Fatal Death, the comedy special written by Stephen Moffat, they detect things. Yeah, another scene in the TARDIS. I put up the War Doctor, and I thought maybe a game based on the War Doctor's life would actually be a better way to explore that character. Because it's unlikely you'll get a TV special with him. Because they obviously, rightly so, I would say, rightly so, they want to focus on the current Doctor. They don't want to have two Doctors being used at the same time. So I guess there's either books or a video game. You know, imagine a video game where you're shooting the Scarrow degradation. That'd be pretty sweet.
It's rewriting them. It's tearing down the foundations of history. Doctor, we have to stop it.
Well, I'll point at the Doctor with the gun seemed initially a bit wrong, even though he has did it in the past. But what I find strange is that if you have the Doctor shoot an enemy with a gun, that might seem a bit off. But if you have the Doctor, say, plant an explosive and then detonate it, that would seem better. My point is, I think it's funny how we can have the Doctor kill things, and we're okay with it, as long as he doesn't actually use a gun. I do find that amusing. You know, he can trick people into blowing up, he can reverse the polarity to vaporise them, he can plant bombs, he can throw them into pits or whatever, but just actually shooting them, oh no, that's where we draw the line. And I do understand why, because it just looks weird, the Doctor shooting someone dead. And by the way, I do know that he did do it in the classic series. You know, the third Doctor had a laser gun and he's like gunning down Silurians. Although in that context, I think it worked better because it was like a cartoon laser gun. I know. In principle, shooting someone dead with a laser gun and shooting someone dead with a lead-based weapon, you know, on principle, it's the same thing. But it just looks more acceptable if he does it with a cartoony laser gun. Oh, this part's a bit annoying. Yeah, you see the red Dalek here in a darker light. When I say that, I mean actual darkness. You know, when he's not some bright red. And he looks a lot better. Anyway, not enough about me going about the Paradigm Daleks, but yes, they should have at least stuck with them. But honestly, I would like a break from the Daleks. To be honest. Or at least come up with something really interesting, at least. Now, I have to be very quiet here, because I have to undo that door with that guy potentially shooting me. But fortunately at this point, as I recall, River actually becomes really helpful. Yes, can you believe it, folks? Hey, you know what? We should give River her own shoot-'em-up game. Yes, River! Act as my human shield! I love this! River, we found a use for you! Ah, it's okay, you've got plenty of regenerations left, or something. Oh, that's another thing too! If River was a Time Lady, Time Lords can detect each other. So why didn't he always recognise her as a Time Lady? Plot hole! Oh, you know, you could argue that, well, she's a different type of Time Lady, so the Time Lords recognising each other doesn't apply to her. And I would go, you're right, but I don't really care. I don't really care. Apparently, you can make a Time Lord by scrumming in the time vortex, and no, that's not a euphemism. Yeah. Now ask her nice, and you can whip out your sonic screwdriver, take her up the get out your vortex manipulator, and if you ask her nicely, she just might let you reverse the polarity. I'll just run for it. You know, for the ultimate killing machine, they do have a slow turning speed. There we go. So, yeah, a game based on the Time Warp. I want to say I'll look forward to that, but in the previous parts, when I was talking about this sort of manipulative Seventh Doctor, this manipulative War Doctor, you know, that has lots of quirks, and he's interesting, and he's like the Seventh Doctor, really manipulative. I don't think we'll get that. I think whenever we see a depiction of the War Doctor, he'll just be the weary John Hurt type Doctor we saw in Day of the Doctor. or he'll just be like the Ninth Doctor. Because that's the problem with the War Doctor in the novel Engines of War. He just seems like an older Ninth Doctor. He doesn't seem to have much personality. I mean, I get it. In Day of the Doctor, he was like the weary warrior, but that seems like that's all what he'll ever be. Again, that's partly why I am not too keen on his introduction, because he feels like a weak link in the chain of the Doctors. And I guess that's why I bought the book, because I actually don't want to feel that way about a Doctor, or a version of the Doctor. So I was hoping he would essentially develop this War Doctor into an incarnation I could be okay with, at least. But I suppose he's not bad. He's a replacement Ninth Doctor, and that's sort of what he feels like. Oh, come on, nearly there. There we go. I like those gauge puzzles, because they're not too hard. If you're playing co-op, I wonder what the other person is doing at this point. Yes, and what we're doing now is we're blowing up the place. Yeah, you see, he doesn't use guns. Oh, he's happy to sabotage a base so it explodes, but guns, nah. Oh, you probably can't hear it because it's too quiet. Especially of my inane, bitter commentary about the War Doctor. I hate it so much. Anyway, you probably can't hear it, but there's a general humming sound, like a... And that's actually a sound effect used specifically for Dalek ships. And it's amazing because I didn't notice it was there, but that gentle humming in the background. It's been there throughout the classic series. It's been there in the games, obviously right here, right now. In the new series, the classic series, that humming sound, and also in the Big Finish audio dramas. And I was like, it blew my mind when I realised that this subtle sound effect, this gentle hum in the background, has been part of the Dalek mythos essentially, and I didn't even realise it. This part here, you have to play a sort of chase with the scientific Dalek here. Again, you activate the alarm, he comes running towards it. I'm drinking Iron Brew. It's a soda from Britain. It's so cool because it has sort of an irony taste. Well, I don't want you to think that it actually tastes like iron. It's hard to explain because it does sort of taste like iron, but not like actual iron. Because otherwise, I wouldn't drink it if it actually tastes like actual iron. And to be honest, it's not really Iron Brew per se. It's sort of the discount version of Iron Brew. The sort of mock brand, by the Asda Chosen by You range. And it's delicious. Anyway, back to these puzzles here. We sort of have to fill in the pizza. And yes, it's the same puzzle we had to do when we fought the Silence. But this one is coloured blue. If they had different puzzles, I think it would have been amusing if they gave each race different types of puzzles. I'm not sure which one would apply to different ones. Yes, and I had to use the distraction to snip round the scientific Dalek here and get the hat. But I wonder what puzzles would apply to what race, I suppose. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Like maybe the circular ones could be just for the Daleks. The filter ones where you sort of filter the red and blue ones, that could be for the Cybermen. I've lost track of the puzzles. The shapes could be for the Silurians and the gauges could be for the Silence. No, it would work the other way around. The gauges should be for the Silurians. And the sort of puzzle pictures should be for the Silence. But and again, that would be a bad idea because it's like if you play the Dalek level, you'll get their same Dalek puzzles over and over. If you play the Silurian level, you'll get the same puzzles over and over. So I guess it makes more sense to mix them up. Yeah, this section here, where the hell can I hide? I have to just run for it. Basically, run. Bedfordshire, classic Who reference. Take a swig. Speaking of classic Who references, I'm just going to say it. They're nice, but I don't really care about them particularly. I really don't, because even though I like the old series, I like it when the show makes its new lore. You know, the past was good, but you don't have to keep digging it. Stop that. And
Cream, darling. Let's see how long his toasters can handle the cold at the North Pole. Happy holidays.
oh, happy holidays! Oh, that's quite suitable because this will be uploaded a bit after Christmas, recorded before Christmas, uploaded after. I think you should actually bother uploading this on Christmas Day. Which you might think is a bit sad, but think about it. All I have to do is turn on the computer and just upload it, and it will do it itself. So I wouldn't be wasting any time, per se. But there's something amusing about a dog screaming in distress.
That's our ticket to the last piece of the clock.
Just make sure.
Anyway, in the next part we'll move on to the final one. Join me again. We all change throughout this Let's Play, but I'll never forget when the commentary was me.